So I'd like to welcome you to Social Media Week to Rapid Results with Derek Halpern. I'm pleased to introduce our host, Lauren Fritz. Give her a big round of applause. Miss Fritz is an entrepreneur from a young age. Lauren is a successful strategist who works with innovative executives and entrepreneurs who are here to impact the world in a big way. You can find her at laurenfritsch.com, F-R-I-T-S-C-H, or tweet her at magnetismfactor. And the hashtag for tonight is SMW results. Take it away.
Tweet lots. Hi guys, thanks for coming. My name is Lauren, as Lauren said. We try to keep it real around here. Everybody has to be named Lauren. And basically I wanted to have a fireside chat with someone whose work I really love, Derek Halpern.
It's like I'm my back to everyone over here.
Yeah, situate. Oh, sorry. And no, you're good. And Derek is someone, I interviewed him last June for a virtual retreat that we streamed, and it was an event all for women entrepreneurs. And I thought that being in New York City, there are going to be a lot of people during Social Media Week who need to hear what he has to say. If you're not familiar with his work, he is blogging at socialtriggers.com. He also has a fabulous web series on YouTube that's also Social Triggers. And basically what Derek does that's so amazing is he's taking neuroscience, he's taking behavioral psychology, and he's taking marketing and mashing it all together so that we can learn what really works to sell our shit. And and that's what we're all here for, I would assume, is we want to learn how to get greater engagement for sure, but also engagement that leads to conversion. And whether that conversion means that you are growing your platform and you're expanding your email list, or that conversion means you've got dollars in your bank account, it's going to be different for everybody depending on who you work for and what you're selling. But that's what Social Triggers is helping people do around the world, literally. And what is so interesting about Derek is that he burst onto the scene, and granted, I know you did a whole bunch of legwork before Social Triggers was created, and we can talk a little bit about that, but before he burst onto the scene, or when he burst on the scene, that was what? That was fewer than 24 months ago. And he's now built a following that's literally in the hundreds of thousands. We can say at this
90,000 subscribers.
Okay.
200,000 visitors a month.
Huge. Huge. So let's repeat that. 90,000 subscribers, 200,000 visitors a month in a market that is completely saturated and totally noisy. Okay? So that's what we're here to talk about today. That's what we're here to sort of deconstruct with Derek. And my intention for you guys, that this is a fireside chat. This is intimate. I want you guys to feel involved in how this continues to unfold. So don't be afraid to interact. We're right here. And ask questions. So before we get started, so let's get a round of applause for Derek first. Thank you for being here.
I feel like I have you say nice things about me all the time. This is great.
I can do that for a price.
It might be worth it, actually.
Yeah.
My ego's already huge. That's going to be perfect.
I'm also a really good wing girl.
Yeah.
So, to get started, what I'd really like to know is what industries you guys come from. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shout out a couple different industries and raise your hand if that applies to you. Raise your hand if you work for a creative agency. Oh my gosh. Raise your hand if you're self-employed. Holla. Raise your hand if you've heard of Derek before this party. Okay,
What?
great. This is awesome.
Really?
And there went the ego. Dang it. Alright, raise your hand if you came here for something really specific. Raise your hand if you have a question for Derek. What is it? Over here.
I haven't said anything.
I can't see you. I just want to know. I just want to know what's on your mind so it can help me.
Are there industries that you feel are lagging in their use of social media, like financial services and legal services?
Ball bearings.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure nobody's buying ball bearings on a blog. So for good reason. But yeah, no, that's about it. I think there's an opportunity for all industries to work, but maybe not ball bearings yet. Or those things you find inside the beef jerky packets to keep it dry. I don't think people are buying those on the blog either.
Awesome, and we'll be able to get back to that and circle back over time. So I'm curious. I just want popcorn. Tell me what industry you're in.
Startup tech.
Cool.
Finance. Interior design.
Coaching.
Manufacturing.
Interior
Fashion.
design, nice.
Wait, say that again.
Fashion.
Great.
Real estate.
Great.
Storytelling.
Great.
Cybercrime and things of that nature, security.
Committing it, right?
Fraud.
You've got to know what they do in order to be able to stop it. So yeah.
Fair enough. This is a really diverse group. Anything else?
Events and nightlife.
Okay. Events, jewelry,
Entertainment.
entertainment, healthcare,
Climate change.
wine, journalism, media. How many of you guys have a blog? How many of you guys have a blog that makes money? All right, just checking.
Want a blog that makes money.
How much?
All right, so I think we're ready to get started. I feel like we know a little bit about who you guys are. And again, just percolate a little bit what you really want to know. And Derek and I are just going to have a little chatty chat.
All right, hard questions only.
Hard questions only. Let's see. Where do I even start? All right, first. So we know that you created Social Triggers roughly 2 years ago. Tell me a little bit about what got you to that point.
2005, I was a reader of a site called Tucker Max. Anyone know what Tucker Max is?
Yes.
So this is before he had a book deal. This is before he became Tucker Max that he is today, one of those selling millions of books or whatever. And I thought he was really funny. And one day I clicked the advertise here link on his site. And I saw he was getting $500 a week for ads, and he had 5 ads. So I was like, oh, this guy just does dumb things and writes about it and gets paid. I do dumb things, let me do that too. So I launched my first blog. I wasn't nearly as funny as Tucker Max, unfortunately. And over the course of 3 months, I think I attracted maybe 12 readers or so. So I went back to Tucker Max for inspiration, you know, a real big role model in my life at this point. And I noticed he was linking to an entertainment blog, a gossip site. And I went there. At this point, it was What Would Tyler Durden Do?
Oh, yeah. Great.
And at this point, I'm a pro, so I know exactly what to look for. Did control find, advertise, found it, click. He was getting $1,000 a week. I found my niche at this point. I was going to be a celebrity gossip blogger. And I launched a celebrity gossip blog in March of 2006. And at the beginning, I just started writing a bunch of celebrity gossip, just taking what was happening and kind of taking that approach of just making fun of celebrities. And over the course of the first year, I went, like, from March 2006 to February 2007. In February, I think the site got something like 3 million people to it in February alone. One day, like, there's this American Idol star who was Antonella Barba, I think her name was, and she had naked photos on the internet, and I got all the traffic for that. So it was like 1 million people that visited my site. So I built the site up. This site was getting, at the end of the 2007, I think in 2007 alone, there was 30 million visits for that website.
Wow.
I had launched a fashion website, a makeup website.
Can you tell us the name?
I can't say the name of this gossip
Okay.
site. But I did the fashion, makeup, fitness, and men's entertainment. And I channeled all the traffic from the gossip site to these ancillary sites.
Right.
Then at the end of 2007...
Similar to the Pop Sugar concept.
Right as Pop Sugar was branching out with Fab Sugar, Bella Sugar, they were starting to launch all those blogs. I was doing the same thing in a different niche.
Okay, perfect.
Then at the end of 2007, I got real depressed because I was writing makeup reviews. I was going to a site called like Makeup Alley and just like Googling Lush lipstick and trying to write a makeup review based on other people's comments. And even though that site was getting 1 million visitors a month, so they must have liked what I was writing, but I didn't wear lipstick, you know? I had a fashion site. I only wore a dress in college once, you know, it was Halloween. And I was writing about fit flops and all these things that I realized I hated. I hated everything. So I did the next viable move at this point, which was I went into finance. And I walked away from the web stuff completely. I hired a bunch of freelance writers to keep that stuff updated while I did finance for 2 years. and I hated finance.
And when you say did finance, what does that mean?
So I worked for a financial company.
Okay.
I was in an international area of a financial company where I focused on calculating spreadsheets. The most boring thing in the world, by the way. And this is funny because at this point, I remember I got that job, and I remember they offered me, for my yearly salary, what I was earning like in 2 months on the internet.
Wow.
So it was really stupid to do it from a financial perspective, but imagine being a dude writing about lipstick every day. So it was like the grass was greener. That eventually became even worse than writing about lipstick. And let me tell you, bureaucracy, I found like I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, doesn't work. Apparently rolling into a meeting with, VPs wearing no shoes is inappropriate. Like, I just thought that, why do you need your shoes? I'm already on a rug. And so they would all look at me funny because I'm rolling around with no shoes on. Or at one point I was wearing the Vibram 5 Fingers with a suit. And they were comfortable, but no one else appreciated it as much as I did. So I quit, and I started Social Triggers at that point. So that was kind of the genesis of, I had all this experience building websites and all these consumer-facing brands, from fashion to makeup to gossip, and I decided to start talking about that stuff with people.
Okay.
To show people how to do it, how to attract customers to your site, because I already had this track record. I think at that point when I launched Social Triggers, all my sites combined, I think, did like 100 million visitors over the course of maybe 2.5 years or 3 years, I think it was.
Wow.
So it was a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I decided to start sharing that with other people.
Fabulous. So do you feel like you learned through trial and error, or have you been following a couple key people to get to the results that you've achieved?
I call this the education loop. And it's a working title because this is a horrible name, but I wish I could come up with something that's better for this. But I would implement by focusing really intently, let's say for a month, learn a specific topic. So let's say I jumped into pay-per-click and I want to do pay-per-click ads on my site. I would spend 30 days just learning as much as I could about pay-per-click as possible. Reading books, reading blogs, reading everything, trying to get notes about my potential action plan for pay-per-click. I would then spend the next 3 months implementing what I learned. Most people make the mistake in the beginning, especially when they're trying to learn about social media or blogging or marketing. They spend all this time every day. They wake up in the morning, they check their email, they read their favorite newsletters, they go to their RSS reader, they read that, and they're just like passively consuming this content for entertainment purposes. What I was doing, on the other hand, was consuming and then spending the time actually implementing. I would then only go back to read more when what I implemented started to stagnate. So let's say I started doing pay-per-click and I was profitable up to $100 a day in ad spend.
Okay, can you repeat that again, just to underscore what you just said? I think it's really vital.
You gotta do some shit. That's if you
Yeah.
want to build a business, you gotta do some stuff.
Yeah, I want to highlight that. So it's not, like you said, a passive consumption of information and then sort of like willy-nilly applying something here and there.
Yeah, and a lot of people will come to something like this and they'll be like, oh, I know all this. And people who say stuff like that, people who say, I haven't learned anything this week, are usually people who are passively consuming content. Because they heard everything before, but why are you still going to these things? Stop going to these meetups, stop reading more blog posts, and actually use what you know. Like, I get this all the time. I'll send out an email, and I did this blog post about how to email people and get responses, like, especially journalists, from a PR perspective.
Yep.
And this woman emails me. She goes, everyone knows how to do that. And I sent her an email back. I was like, well, where's your readers? You don't have any readers on your site. You know how to do it. Why aren't you doing it? And then 100 excuses. Well, I'm not focusing on it yet. Or, I have been doing it. You just don't see it. I say, well, gotta start implementing this stuff. So.
Yeah, and I love that. And for those of you who sometimes feel overwhelmed about, all the stuff that you could learn about and implement, what he's saying is take one thing, like whether it's LinkedIn or some pay-per-click or networking offline, take one thing and do it hardcore for a month,
and
like,
then
learn
only
about
stop doing it when you get to a point where you're not improving anymore. So with the
Love
pay-per-click example, I think I got to a point where I was spending about $100 to $200 a day in Facebook ads, and I was at that point, every dollar I spent, I was making like $7,
Great.
which was great. Then I increased the spend to $500 a day. I was like, hey, I'm getting a 7-to-1 return. I want to spend $100,000 on this ad as much as possible. But when I increased the spend to $500 a day or $600, $700 a day, I would shoot back down. I would lose all my conversions, and I would go from 1 to 7 to losing 80 cents per dollar spent, just by increasing the spend. So that's when I would stop doing what I'm doing, keep it at $200 a day, and then focus on trying to figure out why that was happening.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. Tell us, so one of the big things that you've been able to harness is massive traffic.
Yeah.
How?
This is big. So a lot of people do things, they'll do a PR push where they'll think, if I can just get my site featured on, let's say, Mashable, this is going to be the answer. And they'll bust their ass to get that feature on Mashable. They'll get it and they'll be disappointed. And they'll go, all right, I got Mashable, let me focus on getting Huffington Post next. And they'll get Huffington Post. And this all rolls out over the course of 12 months. Like, they'll get Mashable 1 month, Huffington Post another month, they'll get Inc. another month, and they'll just go do all this. And it doesn't return results. However, if you really want to get people to visit your site, you have to blitz the media. And this is what I did to launch Social Triggers, where you don't want to get featured once a month. You want to, you don't want to get featured 12 times once a month over the course of a year. You want to get featured 12 times in 3 days. And when you have that push all at once, the people who would ignore you the first time around see you again and again, and it becomes impossible to ignore. So when I launched Social Triggers as an example, I was helping these top bloggers like Chris Brogan, David Risley, Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, and all these other blogs that had these huge followings, showing them how to increase the conversions of their blog to get more email subscribers. And I had these videos go live, maybe 20 of them, in 30 days.
And the videos you're talking about where you critique their websites?
Yes, I had 20 of those go in about maybe 30 to 45 days. In each video I said the same thing. It got to a point where I wanted to smash my head against the wall because I was saying the same thing every day of the week for an hour a day, and it was driving me nuts. But what ended up happening was, my ideas, instead of having 1,000 people know about them, 50,000 people knew about them, and they saw it everywhere. So people who didn't want to come check me out the first time and thought I was crazy or some loud New York dude that doesn't know anything, once they saw it everywhere, they started thinking, maybe I have to go check this guy out.
Cool.
So that's kind of the first thing, is just blitzing the media and getting everything to go live at once. And for everyone who's here listening, you can actually set this up. And a lot of people, they'll look at PR. I mean, we're in a PR company now, right? Mm-hmm. They'll look at PR and they'll try to get one piece of PR per month. And they'll try to start looking for PR like 2 weeks before their product launches. Whereas I'll start looking for something, whereas right now I'm doing it, where I want a bunch of interviews to go live maybe in September. And I'm already setting that up now to make sure I have all those things scheduled to go live in September, to make sure it all happens at once.
Great. So you've got your Blitz. And just so you guys know, a resource that you can check out online is that Derek has a whole host of the videos that he's talking about where he reached out to major players in the online world and said, hey, let me critique your website live. So they basically did a screen share, and he's like, da-da-da-da-da, you need to change this and this and this. And then you learn what the results are of their change.
Yep.
And so you've got people like Chris Brogan or like Laura Roeder saying, oh, well, I achieved this change in conversion because of what Derek told me to do. So these are people who know their shit. You know, they probably have 7-figure businesses, a lot of them, and are getting even better conversion thanks to what he talked about during his video Blitz where he critiqued these websites. So, you know, watch some of them. Go check them out and see what he has to say, because it's stuff that all of us can learn about for our own blogs and websites.
Just watch one, though. I say the same thing in every video.
Just watch one. What is the biggest mistake you see people with websites, blogs making?
This is a mistake that people make, and when they hear about it, they're going to be happy that this is a mistake. And the biggest mistake is they'll start a blog and they'll start trying to build their business by writing content, and they will spend all of their time writing content. They think they need to update their blog 3 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times a week. Who can keep up with that? I don't do it. I wake up every day of the week, I do nothing for the first like 4 hours. So I should be able to write a blog post every day. I can't do it. I only imagine if I was running like a service-based agency or an interior design company or a fitness company or anything, there's no way in hell I'd be able to write a blog post every day. And I've got nothing but time on my hands. And that's a mistake. Don't update your blog that much. The solution is to focus on creating maybe 1 or 2 blog posts a month and getting maximum market penetration for those blog posts. When I started Social Triggers in the first 18 months, I went from, I think it was 0 to 20,000 or 26,000 subscribers or so. And I averaged 2.5 blog posts per month. 2.5 blog posts, 26,000 subscribers. So where did the subscribers come from? Well, I just was of the mind, if I wrote a blog post that got 1,200 readers, there's probably a million other people in the world that could benefit from this that have not seen it yet. And I would focus on getting that blog post in their hands. Now, to really show you how this works, this is something you should probably write down or commit to memory, or I feel like that Van Wilder dad just saying write that down every time, but you want to figure out, so this is what I did. You want to figure out who your ideal customer is. You want to write a piece of content that appeals to them. Then you want to share that content with them. And I did this with massage therapists. I found in my data that I had massage therapists that were reading my site for whatever reason. And I wrote an article where all I did was how to turn new customers into repeat customers. So it applies to every type of business. But the first sentence was, the other day I walked into a spa and I realized massage therapists knew nothing about email marketing. So I started with the massage therapist, email marketing, then I went on to continue. Actually, small businesses know nothing about email marketing. And I proceeded to tell this massage therapist story on how they could use email marketing to turn new customers into repeat customers. In the end, the article wasn't about massage therapists. It was about email marketing and small business. But I had that twist, my ideal customer in mind, which was massage therapists. What did I do next? I got in touch with those people. There are Facebook pages on the web. One is called Massage Practice Builder. It's got like 5,000 likes. Not that many. I sent an email to her. I was like, hey, I got this article about turning new customers into repeat customers, perfect for massage therapists. She shared it, sent me like 700 opt-ins in 24 hours.
Amazing.
I emailed the editor-in-chief of one of the biggest massage magazines in the world. And she responded. She asked me to contribute a monthly column to Massage Magazine. That's not what I wanted. I mean, I guess I could have taken it, but I was just trying to get her to link me on her Facebook page. But she did offer that based on that one article, because I knew my audience was massage therapists, and I reached out to them. Another example. When I first started Social Triggers, I had no credibility in the marketing space. Even though I had all these huge blogs beforehand, I couldn't really mention the names of the blogs because of just the deal that I had established after that. So I couldn't use that credibility. I could talk about it, but most people didn't believe me. So what I did was, I wrote an article that was called The Content is King Myth Debunked. For those of you who follow me, I'm sorry, you probably heard this story before, but there's only 8 people who raise their hands. So anyway, here's what I did. Here's an example of me reusing the same content that I know that works to get increased penetration on my ideas. Where it was all about how content isn't king, design is king in the first 6 seconds. And what did I do? Web designers would like it. Writers would hate it. So I emailed web designers letting them know I got this article and said, hey, design is king. You knew this all along. You've been saying it. Now you got the research to back it up. They shared it with all their clients. They shared it on their Twitter. They were like sitting there thinking, yeah, buy my shit. I got design is king. And they loved it. Naturally, writers hated it. So I just emailed them. I said, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this whole design is king and this research? And they started sharing it with all their friends, saying how I was an idiot. What ended up happening was I had this like big controversy where designers were fighting with writers, and I wasn't really to blame. I kind of was to blame because I instigated it a little bit, but it was a new blog, and I got like 32,000 visits or so over the course of like 2 weeks. Just by writing a piece of content with a target audience in mind, and then reaching out to that target audience with a cold email. I didn't know these people. I didn't know massage therapists, I didn't know massage practice. I just emailed them, introduced myself, told my story. They loved it, they shared it. So that's kind of the tip. Audience, content, reach out.
Could you put in your subject line when you it's mailed out to people that you didn't know?
Good question.
From Adam.
Depends. It depends on what type of site they had. So you don't want to use a template email. Most people would think, all right, I want to email 100 people. Don't do that.
No.
What you want to do is you want to find 5 people that you want to email,
Right.
read like 50 of their articles, know exactly who they are, and then put in your subject line what you think is going to appeal to them. So, for example, with the Massage Practice Builder, I saw there was a discussion going on their site about how social media wasn't helping their business. And what I emailed them was, hey, email marketing can help as a response to your article. So I was like responding directly to something they said. That said, if I'm emailing someone I don't know and I don't have that kind of time to research them,
Right.
I'll always try to be as conversational as possible. Not like, I won't ask for something. I'll do something along the lines of, yo, just wanted to introduce myself. And almost always, you'll be surprised who opens those emails. Like I had New York Times bestselling authors open it, top professors from business schools open it, just by saying, hey, what's up? Just want to introduce myself, and they open. And if you write the right email copy, they'll respond. I actually did a video about this called How to Email Influential People. Just Google it. And I walked through a script that you can use to email people you don't know to get them to respond.
Thank you.
Great. So this is a little bit off topic, but I'll, take
It's
one
like
for the
grammar
team.
mistakes. I just messed up my white shirt.
We knew it was going to happen.
I did.
We did. So earlier this year, in January, I sat down and I benchmarked where the biggest chunks of cash came from my business over the past 3 years. And so you guys know, I'm a consultant, essentially. I work with multinational corporations and I work with solo entrepreneurs. I help them grow their business, essentially. We do internal work, we do external work, but that's what I do. Oh yeah, you've got so much
So
feedback.
No, I'm just looking at my shirt. I'm an idiot.
It looks hot. It's good. It's better than jewelry. So my question for you is, as I went through that process of benchmarking where the zeros came from, the zeros and commas came from one-on-one connections that were not made online 95% of the time. So literally hundreds of thousands of dollars came in to my bank account, not from the online space.
Okay.
So for me, do I give a flip about online marketing?
So that's a good question. A lot of people will say that my business is growing not through online marketing. And they'll do this, they'll have their foot on the floor, they'll get referrals, and that happens. Referrals are a great way to grow your business. However, as you become more known in the space and you develop this like celebrity around your whatever it is you're doing, people want to pay you more money. So as an example, when I did those conversion site reviews, at that point I had people offering me $2,000 to sit down with them for 20 minutes to walk through their site to describe the same things that I said on 20 other videos. And I'm sitting here thinking and they would email me like, hey, I want to hire you. And I was like, I would sell it for $2,000. That's the only thing I would do it for. But that said, don't pay me for it. Just go watch another video and just replace their site with your site. And people actually wanted to pay it. It made no sense to me. And I never actually did any of these because I just told them I'm not going to do it. Go watch the video. Don't be lazy. Go watch the video. And it was shocking to me. So for someone like you who is getting all this business in the real world, the bigger your profile gets, the more you can charge for your services. I don't know why this is the case. I don't know if it's necessarily fair. I don't know if it even makes sense, but that's just the way it works. So that's why I would say even if you're building a huge business, building a profile for it is a great way to do it. Like look at someone like McKinsey.
Yeah.
They have McKinsey Quarterly. Why? Because they want distribution for their ideas.
Right.
Harvard Business Review has distribution for their ideas. This is why they have these things. They can charge higher prices.
Great. That's really good because that basically means that I get to go from 500 to 1,000 to 5 times that.
Yes.
For now. Great.
And it's something that can be done in, like, if you're only writing 2 blog posts a month, it's not that much time. It's not that much time to write 1 blog post a month and send out 10 emails to people you don't know. There's no reason why you could do that on a Saturday. And if you're really looking to grow your business, whether you're like an interior design company, you should be writing a blog post every month, as an example, where here is a... First things first, I'll tell you why I'm obsessed with interior design right now. Because I just signed a lease on an apartment in Manhattan yesterday. So I've been looking at design blogs.
Speaks the bachelor pad.
So I just did this yesterday. But it would make sense for someone like you to say how to position a plant in a living room.
You're absolutely right.
Once a month. And then if I found that article, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm going to put my plant over here. Now I'm going to think like, well, what else do I do? You can't just decorate a house with 1 plant. They're going to want to hire you for your services. I use something called Trunk Club, which is where you talk to a stylist, they figure out your style, and then they mail you clothing. And then you like keep what you want, send back what you don't want, and it's great. And then you can drink wine and destroy the clothing that they send you in front of 50 people.
But no, it's good to meet a trunk club. It's
So,
a great business.
so that's another example where they like give this service where I get a free hour of styling consultation, and then they start sending me clothes that I can buy. And I have never spent so much money on t-shirts or button-down shirts in my life. Because they're just like, this is perfect for you, Derek. I'm sending it to you. I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, this is perfect for me. I'm going to keep it. It's $220 for a button-down. I didn't even know that was possible. But apparently,
Cool.
it is.
So I have a question too. What's the most little-known, tiniest trick that we would never think about that can make a massive difference?
Deleting everything on your web design. No nonsense, no social media profile links, no badges. You don't need no badges on your site. Getting rid of those links in your sidebar. Just deleting everything possible from your web design and putting an email sign-up form in its place. So what I do, if you actually go to socialtriggers.com, I've got like 3 email sign-up forms per page. It's to a point where you go to this site, you're like, this ass just wants my email address. And you know what? That's right. That's exactly what I want. If you're not okay with it, leave. But get rid of everything else but email sign-up forms. You will build your list faster. And I got a case study of Laura Fuentes. She runs a site called Momables. And this is a site where she creates these meal plans for, I guess, moms who are busy that want to create bag lunches for their kids because they don't want their kids eating Elio's pizza and chicken nuggets. So she creates these healthy lunches that moms can make, and she just listened to what I said, went from getting like 8 email subscribers a day to like 37 email subscribers a day overnight.
Wow.
Just by paring down her site, putting the email sign-up forms in the right places, which is just at the top of your sidebar, maybe at the top of your web design, and at the bottom of a blog post. Did that, email subscribers quadrupled, and now she went from getting, I think, she had a few thousand subscribers and a few hundred paid subscribers, to over 16,000 free subscribers, or 20,000, and a few thousand paid subscribers over the last 12 months.
Wow.
Just by paring down her web design and focusing on the email list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of the email list, you email out roughly once a week, yeah?
So it's been a little bit more this
Lately,
year.
yeah.
Lately, it's been a little bit more.
What's the art and science behind frequency?
It's not about frequency. It's about emailing when you have something to say. A lot of people think like, oh, I have to update my blog once a week. I have to do this once a day. Don't do that. Only email. Here's the bottom line. Everyone who subscribes, raise your hand if you're on an email list. Are you busy? Keep your hand up. Come on. Who's got time to read whatever the hell comes to someone else's mind?